Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Frank Puzzles, and this is today's easy level puzzle. Now take the easiness with a grain of salt because this is considered easy by the people on the Logic Masters Germany forum, and there's a lot of really smart people there. Anyway, today's puzzle is called Kropki Numerals by Sotir, and here are the rules. Sudoku. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Place the digits 1 through 9 once in every row, column, and 3x3 box. Black Kropki dots. Digits separated by a black dot have a ratio of 1 to 2. So for example, if this were a 2, this would have to be 1 or 4 to maintain the 1 to 2 ratio. White Kropki dots. Digits separated by a white dot are consecutive. So for example, if this were a 3, this would have to be a 2 or 4 to be consecutive with it. X and V. Digits separated by an X sum to 10. So an example of this would be if this were 3, this would have to be a 7 because X separates two digits that must add up to 10. So these must add up to 10. Digits separated by V sum to 5. So for example, if this were a 2, this would have to be a 3 to maintain the, and we would celebrate, because these two cells must add up to 5. And those are all the rules. Excuse me. If you like to play along, I don't know, there's a frog in my throat right now. Excuse me. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's go. Okay, first things first. These are low. This must be low too, because it could either be low, 1 through 4, or so when I consider low is usually 1 through 4, and high is 6 through 9. So these have to be low because the only digits that can add up to 5 is either 1, 4, or 2, 3. So these are low, obviously, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is consecutive with a 1, 2, 3, 4. So the only digits that are consecutive with 1 through 4 have to be also 1 through 4, or it has to be 5, right? But the problem with that is that this can never be 5 because these are two specific digits. Sorry, these are two digits that add up to 10, and they're unique. Obviously, can't be 5 and 5. So that's the only two digits with 5 that would add up to 10. So this also has to be 1 through 4. So these are low. This is low, and this is low. You know what we're going to do? We're going to color the lows by their pairs of V's. And what I mean by that is it's either, if you have two digits that add up to 5, it's either 1 through 4 or it's 2 and 3, right? So 1 and 4 and 2 or 3. But the thing is, anytime you have 1 and 4, the 2 and 3 is not allowed in the rest of the row or box, etc. So we know, therefore, it's either one of the sets, which is 1 or 4, or it's 2 or 3. And therefore, we can divide them into, and I'm going to color these, I don't know, green and pink. So the greens are going to be one set, and the pink has to be the other set. This also has to be green, because if it were the pink set, then that would eliminate all possibilities for this cell. So this is all, we know this one has to be 6, 7, 8, or 9, and it's in a 1 to 2 ratio. So therefore, it has to be 6 or 8, which means this has to be 2 or 4. 2 or 4 is consecutive only with 1 and 3. And 6 and 8 is in a 1 to 2 ratio only with 3 or 4. But if this is 3, this would have to be 2, but that's not consecutive with any of these. Therefore, this must be 4, and this must be 8, which makes this a 1 and this is a 2. Therefore, we know this is 1 and 4 also. So actually, we don't need to color them because we know we've derived something just from the black Kropki dots. So this is 1 and 4. It's consecutive with 2 or 8. 1 and 4 can only be in add up to 10 with 6 or 9. Now 6 is not consecutive with 2 or 8, so 9 is the only one that's consecutive with 2 or 8, therefore it has to be 8, which means this must be 4, and this must be 1 to be maintained a 1-2 ratio. This has to be 1 and 9. So this cannot be 1 and 4, this has to be 2 and 3, which means that it adds up to 10 with 7 or 8. And 2 to 3 is at a 1 to 2 ratio. Well, this can't be 8 anymore, so this has to be 7, which makes this the 3. This has to be 2. And that's, we have 3 in a corner, so we celebrate. 2 is in a 1 to 2 ratio with 1 or 4. It can't be 4, so this must be 1. Let's see. This is in a 1 to 2 ratio, so it's either 1, 2, but it can't be 1, 2 because neither of these can be 1 or 2. Therefore, it must be 3 and 6. And 4 and 8 is ruled out, so therefore this must be 3 and 6. 6 is consecutive with 5 or 7, but it can't be 7 here, so therefore this must be 5. This 3 is consecutive with 2 or 4, but 2 can't be because it's there, so therefore this is a 4. Now, this is an interesting setup. Do I want to do this the Fistmafel way or not? Let's try it without the Fistmafel way. I'm curious if you can do it without the Fistmafel way. Or, yeah. Basically, I'm curious if you can do it without the Fistmafel way. The rest of these cells have to be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right? No. 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. This can't be 5 because of this 5. This can't be 5 because you need 2 digits that add up to 10, and 5 can never be with that. Another digit. That's not itself. So this is 3, 6, 7, 9. Okay. This is 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. This can't be 1, 2. This can't be 1, 2. Therefore, this is 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 7, 8, 9. Therefore, this becomes 1, 2, or 3 with 8 or 9. And this is also 1, 2, 3 with 8 or 9. Now, the thing is, 1, 2, 3, 8, 9 can never be in next to a black Kropki dot because 9 is not double or anything, and it's a 1 to 2 ratio with 18, which is obviously not a digit. So this can't be 9, which means this can't be 1. Okay, that doesn't really tell us much. The rest of this is 4, 5, 6, 8, 9. Obviously, 5 can't be there because, again, you need 2 5s to add up to 10, and that's not allowed in Sudoku rules. So this must be 1, 2, 4, or 6. This must be 1, 2, 4, or 6. The rest of this cell has to be 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. This can't be 2 or 3. This can't be 2. This can't be 5, obviously. Now, what goes with this in the tens? Okay, so we have to do what adds up to 10 with these two cells. So this is 1, 3, 4, or 7. This is 8, 7, 4, and 3 to add up to 10. Okay, so let's see. So 4 has to be in one of these 3 cells because we have a 4 here and a 4 here. That eliminates 4s in these cells. Similarly, we have 8 here and 8 here, so that eliminates 8s in these cells. So therefore, one of these 3 must be 8. 4 has to be one of these cells, and it cannot be this one because it has to add up with 6 to add up to 10. So 4 has to be one of these. 4 has to be one of those 2 cells. 3 has to be one of these 2 cells, and it can't be this one because that would have to be 7 then. 1 has to be one of these 2 cells, and similarly can't be 1 because that would have to be 9. So this can't be 9, this can't be 4 or 8. Therefore, no, we don't have that information there. Whatever this digit is must be the same as this digit. right? Because they both add up with this digit to 10, so they must be the same. So these are the same, and these are the same for the same reasoning. What could this be? I think I might actually have to do Pistomaphel's theory. This can't be 9. This must be 2, 3, 5, 6, or 7, because those are the only ones left here. This has to be 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. So 9 can never be consecutive with any of these digits, so therefore this cannot be 9, right? Because 9 would only be consecutive with 8, but 8 can't be there. 5, 6, and 7 can be consecutive with 5, 6, and 7. 2 has to be consecutive with 3, but 3 cannot be consecutive with 2. It has to have 2 or 4 be consecutive. It has to have 2 or 4 to be consecutive with it, and therefore this can't be 3. Okay, that doesn't tell us very much. This can be, this cannot be 3 or 6. This can't be 8. So this is 1, 2, 5, 7, 9. This can't be 1, 2, 4, 5, so this is 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1 can only be consecutive with 2, so this can't be 1. 9 can only be consecutive with 8, so this can't be 9 here. This is 5, 7, or 9 to be consecutive with 6 or 8. 7 can never be consecutive with 5, 7, or 9, or 2, so this can't be 7. So this could be 2 with 3, or 5, 7, 9 consecutive with 6 and 8. Okay, this can't be 7. Yeah, I think I might have to do Pistomaphel's ring. This cannot be 4, this can't be 5 or 6, this can't be 7. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to explain this to Mephile's ring. Okay. Because otherwise, it just doesn't seem like it's very easy to do. Okay, so Pistomaphel's ring. Now, this is Pistomaphel's ring theory, essentially, and this came out very early on in, I think it was, it was during the pandemic, and it was fairly early on during the pandemic. Well, actually, that's when it became popularized, I believe. I found out about it during the pandemic. I think it was in late 2020 for me. And basically, this is a theory about Sudoku. Now, the theory is basically the ring around the center box, which is box 5, which we consider box 5. There are 16 cells in that ring. Those 16 cell digits, the digits in those 16 cells, must be exactly the same as the digits in the 4 corners. And in the specifically in the 2 by 2 areas in the 4 corners. So these must be the same as these 16 cells. Now the thing is, how do we get to this? This was derived by a user who was called Pistomapel. So that's why it's called Pistomapel's ring theory. And it was a very simple explanation, but it wasn't something that many of us thought of until he basically showed us. And it's basically, this is how the proof goes. You have 5 rows here. And it could actually be 5 rows or 5 columns, but I prefer to use rows because it's easier to explain that way for me. These 5 rows have a certain, must have the digits 1 through 9 5 times, right? Because they're 5 rows. So by specifically the rules of Sudoku, you have to have 5 sets of 1 through 9 in these 5 rows. Now, what happens if we essentially remove the center box? Well, we know that center box contains the digits 1 through 9 also because of Sudoku rules. So we know the remaining cells in this green area must contain 4 sets of the digits 1 through 9, right? Now, we know in columns 1, 2, 8, and 9, those 4 columns must contain also 4 sets of 1 through 9, right? So because of that, we know this contains this blue region contains the 4 sets of 1 through 9. And the green region contains 4 sets of 1 through 9. Now, if you remove all the cells that are in both of these regions, which would be these 10 cells and these 10 cells, so say we remove them from both regions, we know those are exactly the same digits. So therefore, that green space, now if we remove the digits, what we have in the current green space is the 4 sets of 1 through 9 minus the cells in common. And in the blue cells, what is in the remaining blue cells is also 4 sets of 1 through 9 minus the digits that are shared, or the cells that are shared, which contain the digits that are shared. Therefore, we know the green space now, that is Fist-Maffel's ring, has to be exactly the same digits as what's in the blue cells, which are the 4 corners, the 4 2x2 corners. So that's how Fist-Maffel proved his theory. And therefore, actually, I guess it's more than a theorem. I don't know what it would be considered. A law? Fist-Maffel's law? I think we still called it a theory, even though it was essentially, I guess maybe we should be calling it Fist-Maffel's ring law, because this is essentially a proof, and this is by logic. So this is the case for any normal Sudoku rule. Therefore, we know that we have all of these 16 digits must be in Fist-Maffel's ring. And they have to be exactly the same digits. So we know there's 2 of these. There have to be 2 of those cells. And there have to be 2 here, right? That are the same. What we know then is there can only be 1 6 in Fist-Maffel's ring. So this can no longer be 6, because if this were 6, there would be 2 in Fist-Maffel's ring, but there would only be 1 in the blue cells that are surrounding. So that's not allowed. So therefore, this can't be 6, which forces this not to be 4 then. So this is 6, 8, or 9. So we could have 2 1s, we could have 2 2s, we could have 2 4s, because we have 3 4s total. We have 2 2s and 3 1s total. Let's see. So this is either, if this is 1, this has to be 2. If this is 2, this could be 1 or 4. If it's 4, it has to be 2 or 8. Now we could also have 2 3s here. We could have 2 8s here. We could have 2 2s here. We could have 2 1s here. That's fine. Not sure if this tells us anything. Okay, we do know there has to be a 4 here. And we do know there has to be a 4 here because of normal Sudoku rules. So there's a 4 here, so that's 1 4 accounted for. There's a 4 here, that's 1 4 accounted for. Therefore, and these two have to be the same digit, so these cannot be 4, because then you would have 4 4s accounted for in the ring, but there's only 3 in the 4 corners. So these cannot be 4, which means this cannot be 8. So this still could be 1 or 2. This can't be 6, so this is 8 or 9. So this is either 2 1s or 2 2s. And then this would be 8 or 9 with it. Okay. Hmm. We know one of the threes is here, but then one of the threes could be here, so that's fine too. Hmm. Ah, 8 has to be one of these cells. We have only two 8s in the corners, therefore there's only 2 on the ring. If this were 8, there would have to be two 8s. So this cannot be 8. This can't be 8. Therefore, this cannot be 2. So this is 1, 2, or 3. This is 1 or 2. And this is, yeah. So therefore, we have an 8 or 9, a 7, 8, or 9. We do have 1, 7. Hmm. These two do not have to be the same, though. This is consecutive with that. Huh. Okay. We have here in column 7 now, because of what we eliminated from the Fistemafel ring, we have a 7, 8, 9 triplet, which means 3 cells that can only contain 7, 8, and 9. Therefore, there cannot be a 7, 8, and 9 in the rest of the column. Therefore, this can't be 7 or 9, this can't be 9, this can't be 8, and this cannot be 7, 8, or 9. Well, the thing is, the 7, 8, or 9 eliminated possibilities here. So this can now we have a 1, 2, 1, 2 pair in column 7. So the rest of the column cannot contain 1 or 2. That means this can't be 1 or 2, which forces this to be 3, which means this has to be 7 to add up to 10 with that, which means this has to be 3 to add up to 10 also. So now we have 2 3s in the Fistemafel ring. And we also have 2 3s on the outer 2x2 areas in the blue areas. So there cannot be another 3 or 7 in the rest of the ring. So this cannot be 3 or 7, this can't be 3 or 7, this can't be 3 or 7, and this can't be 3 or 7. Now we know this can't be 7, this can't be 7. We have an 8, 9, 8, 9 pair in box 3. So the rest of the box cannot contain 8 and 9, therefore this is 1 or 2. We now have a 1, 2, 8, 9 pair, 1, 2 pair, and an 8, 9 pair in column 7. And we also have a 3 and a 7. So this cannot be 1, 2, 3, or 7, 8, 9. So this has to be 4, 5, or 6. 3 can only be in a 1 to 2 ratio with 6. So therefore this is a 6, which means this can't be 3 or 6. So this must be an 8. Since this is 8, this can no longer be 8. Therefore this is 9, which means this can't be 9. This is 8. The 9 can no longer be here, which forces this to be 8. 8 can only add up to 10 with 2, so this has to be 2. And 2 can be in a 1-2 ratio with 1 or 4, so that those are still possible there. This can no longer be 2, therefore this must be 1, which means that can't be 1, so this is 2. So 8 can be consecutive with only 7 or 9, so that's 7 or 9 there. 1 can no longer be here, therefore this has to be a 1, 4, 1, 4 pair. Because 1 can't be here, 1 can't be here in box 2, 1 can't be here. These can only be 1 and 4. 3 and 7 can't be here anymore, so therefore we have a 5, 6, 9 triplet in box 1. The rest of the box cannot contain 5, 6, or 9. So this can't be 5, 6, or 9, so it must be 7. This can't be 6 or 9, and it can't be 7, so this must be 3. Which eliminates 3 and 7 in the rest of the column. So this can't be 3, this cannot be 3, and this cannot be 7. 2 and 8 can't be here because those are eliminated by that. Therefore, this has to be 6, this has to be 4. This is consecutive with 4, so it's either 3 or 5. This is consecutive with 3 or 5. So it could be 2, but except that the 2 is there, so this cannot be 2. It could be 4. It can't be 6. So this has to be 4 then. This is 4, and it's consecutive with 3 or 5. This cannot be 4 anymore. This cannot be 4 anymore. Oops. Therefore, and this can't be 6. Therefore, that makes that 9, which makes this 1, which makes that 4. 1's only consecutive with 2, so this has to be 2. 2's consecutive with 1 or 3, but this can't be 3. Therefore, this must be 1, which makes that 8. This 6 makes this a 5. This can't be 5 or 6, so this must be 2. 6 can no longer be here. 8 can no longer be here. This can't be 2 or 5 anymore. So this and it can't be 6. So this is a 3, 7 pair. Where is the 1 in column or row 7? It has to be here. 4 can't be here, so this must be 9, which means this has to be 5, which forces this to be 6. This can't be 5 or 6, so now this is 4. This can't be 4 or 6, so this must be 5 now. This can't be 4, so it has to be 1. 2 can't be here, so this cannot be 2 consecutive with 3 anymore. So this has to contain a 6, because 5 is either consecutive with 6. If it's 6, obviously the 6 is there. And 7 is consecutive with 6. Because there's no 8 possible, and there's no 4 possible. So in box 4, the 6 has to be in one of these two cells. So this cannot be 6. This can't be 3, and this can't be 2 or 3. Where is the 2 in box 4? Can't be any of these anymore. It can't be this. Therefore, it must be here. This is 2. Where's the 3 in box 4? It can only be here. And now we have a 5, 6, 7 triplet in box 4, which means 5, 6, 7 cannot be in the rest of the box. Therefore, this must be 9. And this can't be 9. This is 5 or 6. This can't be 3, so this has to be 7, which makes this a 3. This can't be 7, so this is 5 or 6. And 7 is one of these two. We're not sure which. Okay, what else do we know? This can't be 3, 8, or 9. So it's a 6, 7 pair. So 7 can't be here. Therefore, this must be a 9 to be consecutive with 8. This can't be 7 or 9. This has to be a 2, 5 pair. This can't be 2, so it's 5, which makes this a 2. What else do we have? This can only be 4, 5, and 7. 4 cannot be here because of this 4. This can't be 4 because of this 4. Therefore, in column 6, the 4 can only be here. This has to be a 5, 7 pair, but this can't be 5. Therefore, this is 7, which makes that a 5. What else do we have? Let's see. This cannot be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It could be 6, 7, or 9, but this can't be 6 or 9. So therefore, this is 7. And this has to be a 6, 9 pair, but this can't be 6 because one of these must be 6. So therefore, this is 9, which makes that 6. This is 1, 4, and 8. This cannot be 4 and 8, so this must be the 1. This can't be 4, so this has to be the 8, which makes that the 4. This can't be 7 anymore, so this is 5, which makes that 6, and makes that 7, and makes that 6 and that 5. This is a 3, 5, 3, 5 pair, but this can't be 5 anymore, so this is 3, which makes that a 5. This has to be an 8 by Sudoku. This is 7 or 9 by Sudoku. This has to be 3 or 9, but this can't be a 3, so that forces this to be the 9, which makes that a 3. This 9 makes that a 7, which makes that 9. This 7 makes that a 6, which makes that 7. And we're just finishing from Sudoku. This has to be a 6, and this is an 8. And that's the solve. Pretty straightforward. You do have to know Fistopheles' ring law to be able to really make this easy. So I don't know if... but the thing is, okay, so Fistopheles' ring law is pretty common knowledge nowadays in, well, in Logic Masters Germany forum. I don't know if it probably has touched more of the solvers. Most of the solvers probably know about it. Yeah, if you don't know about it, it becomes very difficult. Or I don't know about very difficult, but it becomes definitely challenging at least. But most people should know about it. I don't know. I hope I did a good job of explaining it so that people understand it. And I hope you had a good time with this solve. And I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.